All right, so this week we are wrapping up our series, Awkward, and for some of you guys, this has been the most awkward series that we've had since you've been in church. And I have just a question for you. How does the idea of talking about dating sound to any of you guys? Anybody excited about talking about dating? No, nobody. Okay, it all depends on who you're talking about it with, right? Maybe you would be excited to talk about it with your friends, maybe. With your, like some of your family, not all your family, but then your parents, you don't want to talk with your parents about dating, right? Right? Depends, maybe. You'd like to write about dating in your journal, if you guys still have a journal or do have a journal. But talking to your parents, your small group leader here at church, like sometimes that is awkward. And so just deal with it, because this week we're going to be talking about dating. And no matter how you feel about it, we are going to be talking about dating. We're finishing up the series where we've been talking about dating, sex, sexual desires, and all the stuff that comes with all of this. And it's just too important for us to really skip over it. And I've said it, and Lindsay said it whenever she spoke. But this is one of the most important topics, I think, for us to talk about here at church, because if we're not going to talk about it here, then where else is a safe place to talk about it? And so I want you guys to know that this is going to be a safe place for you guys to be able to talk. We know that not everyone in this room is allowed to date yet. And for you guys, congratulations, you're good. For you guys who are allowed to date, yes, you should tune in. But even if you're not allowed to date yet, there's still stuff that you'll need to hear from this week. Because eventually you'll date whenever your parents say you can date, whether that's, when you turn 12, 13, can drive yourself, or when you're 33. Whatever it is, whenever your parents allow you to date for the first time, I want you guys to know what we're talking about for that time. And we also know that what is best for you when it comes to dating is difficult to figure out. We see in movies, we see in TV shows, we see influencers couple give us the too good to be true images of what dating and relationships are like, right? If you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, anybody? Just me? Okay, cool, just me. Well, we always thought, kind of, that Scott Disick and Courtney had a great relationship, right? And then you watch the tabloids, and it's not the same. And some of you guys are laughing at me because you're like, okay, whatever. But here's the thing. Dating and relationships are not always picture perfect. Dating and relationships are not always picture perfect. You may have experienced this in your own relationships or have noticed it in other adult relationships around you. They can be awkward. They can be frustrating, disappointing, confusing, messy, weird. And the truth really is this, that sometimes relationships can be less than perfect. Sometimes they can be less than perfect. Do you guys ever seen movies where they show like the first date of the couple, and when they get done with the date, you're like, wow, that was the most awkward date ever. Anybody seen one of those movies? I mean, like, that's like half the movies out there around Christmas time. You know what channel I'm talking about? On the Hallmark Channel, half the Christmas movies are awkward first dates that they eventually fall in love at the end because he's the nice guy and not the jerk that she's actually been dating. I don't know about you, but the cringy and awkward dating situations, they're just awkward and embarrassing. But I think that's just the way relationships really are sometimes. They're like cringy and awkward, and your first date may not be the best date, or you may not just get the feels in the first date, or whatever it is. They don't always turn out to be picture perfect, right? Right, yes. If you haven't experienced similar situations, I guess you could probably ask an adult, and they've probably experienced an awkward first date or an awkward date. But dating just has the potential for us to be awkward. Knowing that, many of us still probably have an idea of what we hope a dating relationship might be like, right? Maybe right now we feel like we're ready to date, but we aren't allowed to yet. Or maybe we are dating, and dating is all your friends seem to talk about, but we just don't really care that much. Or maybe we want to date someone, but no one has seemed to really notice us yet. Or maybe we've just started dating for the very first time. Wherever you're at in all the map, no matter what category you fall into, we probably still have an idea of what a perfect relationship should look like. Let's see what you think about the perfect relationship. I'm going to have you guys all stand up real quick. Everybody stand up. We're going to play kind of a game, So what I'm going to do is, if you guys agree with the statement that I'm saying, if you agree what I say, I want you to go to this side of the room, my left, your right. If you agree, go that way. If you disagree with the statement I make, you're going to go to that side of the room, to my right, your left. All right? So, if you agree, that way. If you disagree, go that way. A perfect relationship is one where they get along with all of our friends. Do you agree with that statement? A perfect relationship is one where they get along with all of our friends. Do you agree? Move that way. Or if you disagree, move that way. You don't have to go all the way to the wall, but move in a direction. A perfect relationship is one where they get along with all of our friends, that side or that side. Do you agree or disagree? I mean, sometimes, I'll say this is me, sometimes it's good that they get along with all of your friends, but not everybody's going to get along with all of your friends. It's fine. So it's kind of both end, okay? All right, next one. A perfect relationship is one where we both look like Instagram models and take the best couple photos. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree with that? A perfect relationship is one where we both look like Instagram models and take the best couple photos. Agree or disagree? All right, everybody disagrees, and that's probably true. A perfect relationship is one where we enjoy the same activities, like sports, music, whatever activities you guys enjoy. A perfect relationship is one where we enjoy the same activities, like sports, music, I don't know what, movies. That's another one. There you go. I was like, what is the other categories? All right, you guys are pretty split on that one. There we go. A perfect relationship is one where our longest Snapchat streak is with that special someone. Agree or disagree? Am I being too old by saying Snapchat? Because there's no TikTok streaks or anything. There's like, you guys don't have Snapchat. That's good. All right. Okay, everybody disagrees with that one. Cool. A perfect relationship is one where we're never jealous of the person they sit next to in math class. A perfect relationship is one where we are never jealous of the person they sit next to in math class. Do you agree with that statement or disagree with that statement? Perfect relationship is one where where we're never jealous of the person they sit next to in math class. Got it. Good. You guys shouldn't be jealous of who they sit next to. All right. Next one. A perfect relationship is one where we have dinner at their house to meet their parents. Dinner at their house to meet their parents. Is that a perfect relationship? Is one where we have dinner at their house to meet their parents. Yes, agree, or disagree. All right. A perfect relationship is one where we get to hang out whenever we want outside of school. Is that a perfect relationship? A perfect relationship is one where we get to hang out whenever we want outside of school. Agree or disagree? Whenever you want outside of school. I didn't say just outside of school. I said whenever you want outside of school. You get to. It's not saying you have to. It's not saying that you do. It's saying that you get to. Wow. So you guys want restrictions on when you get to hang out with them? Yeah? Okay. That's cool. Okay. Some of you guys are like, no, I want to be able to go whenever. I agree. I'd like to go. That's me. But all right. A perfect relationship is one where we laugh at the same things. A perfect relationship is one where we laugh at the same things. Agree or disagree? Where we laugh at the same things. That's good. You guys like a good sense of humor. There we go. All right, a perfect relationship. So we've got three more. A perfect relationship is one where our palms don't sweat like the Amazon rainforest when we hold hands. A perfect relationship is one where our palms don't sweat like the Amazon rainforest. Do not sweat like the Amazon rainforest when we hold hands. So, do you like sweaty palms? Over here. Sweaty palms, not sweaty palms. This is what I'm clarifying for you. Whenever you hold hands, do you get sweaty palms? You're going over there. Okay? If you like it or not. All right. A perfect relationship is one where we both make the best couple TikTok videos for everyone to see. Yep. Okay, cool. This is going to be mostly that way. Got it. All right, last one, and then we're going to go back to our seats. A perfect relationship is where we don't have a lot of drama or fights. A perfect relationship is where we don't have a lot of drama or fights. A perfect relationship is where we don't have a lot of drama or fights. A perfect relationship is where we don't have a lot of drama or fights. Do you want a lot of drama or fights? Angie is split. She's like, oh no. Drama and fights. Drama no good. Fights good. Oh no. Okay. All right. That is true. That is how you learn about each other in fights. All right. You guys can have a seat. Thank you guys for playing. You guys are awesome. I'll give you a couple seconds. Or don't trip over each other. All right, so when we think about dating, we focus a lot on what we want the relationship to look like, right? When we think about dating, we focus a lot on what we want the relationship to look like. We think about who we want to date, what we want in the relationship to be like, and the kind of stuff that we want to do together. And while all of that stuff is definitely important for us to consider, I think when it comes to dating and relationships, we often forget to ask what we should be focusing on before we even start dating. It's important because our answer to that, what we should focus on before we start dating, our answer to that can impact who and what dating looks like for us. Look, even if you're thinking, this is deep and all, but I'm not even trying to date right now, I get it. But there's still an important question for us to ask and to think about when we're laying the foundation for our relationships. Even if you're not dating, if you're not interested in dating yet, if your parents have not allowed you to date, it's fine. So when it comes to dating and relationships, where should we look for help? How can we make sure we're focusing on the right things when it comes to the person we choose for our future relationships? There's some pretty old advice that we're going to look at that's going to be helpful for us today. A couple thousand years ago, a guy named Paul wrote a letter to the Christians in a town called Corinth. And in Corinth, and he called it Corinthians. Yeah, because they were Corinthians. Now, Paul was a guy whose life had been completely changed by Jesus. After encountering Jesus, Paul started sharing the message. Started sharing the message of Jesus with people all around the world. And one of those places he went to was Corinth. And after he spent time in the city, Paul wrote them a message. And there was a message he wanted to remind them of. And in his first letter to the Corinthians, Paul included a couple of sentences that can help us here. In fact, it's exactly the kind of stuff we should think about before and whenever we are dating and in relationships. It says this in 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. So here Paul listed what God says what love looks like. Love is. A drink of water right now. Love is, guess we're not going to put the lid back on. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is faithful. Love is hopeful. Love is lasting. And when we think about that kind of love, and isn't it exactly what we want other people to give us, right? We want them to be patient with us. We want them to be kind to us. We want them to be faithful to us. We want them to be hopeful, and we want the love to last, right? And we don't usually think about the type of love mentioned as being the other person in our relationship, though, do we? We want the other person, we always want the other person to be patient. We want them to be kind, want them to be faithful. And when we read a list like this, we usually see it as a long list of things we want to find in the person we're dating. And to be clear, that's not bad. God does want us to have that kind of love in our relationships. He wants us to look for these type of characteristics in other people when it comes to dating and friendships. But we shouldn't just look for them in people. Instead of focusing on finding all of this great stuff in other people, we need to stop looking at ourselves. We need to consider if we're the kind of person that we're that kind of person as well. Are we becoming the person that is love? What love is. Becoming the person God made us to be is so important. And a huge part of that is allowing God to develop our lives and all of those characteristics that are in that list. What Paul wrote about 2,000 years ago is still what should be in our lives today. No matter if you choose to date or not, one step you can take towards becoming the person God created you to be is to practice sexual integrity. And that's basically means choosing to respond to the sexual things we feel, think, and desire in a way that respects ourselves, God, and other people. Dating may be very real for you to learn how to live out the important characteristics that Paul wrote about. But you don't have to wait until you start dating to practice sexual integrity or to learn to live out these important characteristics. In fact, we need to put these characteristics into practice in our friendships, in our relationships, or anything before we start dating someone else. Think about this. Focus on becoming love before looking for love. I'm going to say it again. Focus on becoming love before looking for love. Focus on becoming love before looking for love. I don't know where you are with all the dating stuff, whether you're dating or you're not. Maybe you're already dating or you're not allowed to date. Wherever you're at. Maybe you're waiting to date someone, or you're just not ready, or you're not even interested in dating yet. It's all okay. Wherever you are, you have the opportunity right now to start living out the characteristics of what love is. And God has given us all of the power to become the person that someone would want to date because of the characteristics we're going to exemplify in our life that Paul wrote about. And so while you're looking for the right person, we need to focus on developing those characteristics of love in our lives. Let's focus on becoming love before looking for love. And how can we do this? First, pick one of the characteristics on Paul's list that you want to develop in yourself. Maybe you could use more patience, or you could be more quick to forgive, or you want to cut back on the rude comments, or you just want to be more faithful to people. Just start by picking one of those characteristics and make yourself grow in that. And then practice what you pick. Practice what you pick. Try it. If you have a tendency to be rude to those people in your life, just try not being rude. Practice giving compliments to them. If you tend to be impatient, practice being patient in your responses to people this week. Or instead of holding a grudge, practice bringing up and talking through something that hurt your feelings. None of this is easy. But all of it can be so good. Real love takes a ton of work. And if we're going to become love before we look for love, then we need to focus on growing those characteristics and growing the love in our life and the characteristics that are necessary for the type of person we would want to date. So we need to grow ourselves first. A person who is kind, patient, honest, humble, hopeful, and all of those other things that Paul mentioned, that's the kind of people we need to become. And dating can be awkward, yes. And talking about dating can be awkward, but it's not always going to be. And when you choose to focus on the stuff that's important before you start dating, you're taking a step in the right direction. And so I want to encourage you to develop those characteristics that Paul talks about. Just imagine for a moment, for you, dating could be a really positive experience for both you and the person you're dating. Even if you're not dating yet, what if you started focusing on becoming the person that God has created you to be? Imagine deciding to focus on becoming the characteristics of love that God calls us to be instead of focusing on finding the exact right person right now. What if we focused on ourselves right now and developed those characteristics in our lives? I know it might feel early to talk about dating for some of us, but it's never too early to become the person that God has created you to be. It's never too early. And that's why we've talked for 4 weeks about dating, sex, and relationships. And even though these are awkward things to talk about, I really believe they are important conversations. And so we want you guys to continue this conversation in group. And so I want you guys to keep the conversation going. So as you head towards your group after I pray, I want you to think about this. What's one characteristic you want to develop in yourself? What's one characteristic you want to develop in yourself? Let's pray. God, thank you for this day. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for your son. And God, thank you so much for Paul and his directions on what love is in our lives. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen. All right, so 9th grade and down boys, you're going to go to this corner. Scott, you want to stand up and wave your hands? Scott and John, I can't see if they are waving. They're that corner. 10th, 11th, 12th grade boys, you're going to go to that corner. There you go. Where it says pray. You're going to go to that corner with Herb, and Brian will be down there. And then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade girls come up here. 10th, 11th, 12th grade girls up here. And, yeah. And then 9th grade and down over here. Tenth grade and up, 9th grade and down. Perfect. Good. All right.